The Hidden Architecture of Civilization, Episode 2, The Prussian Mind Factory. Control is not chaos. It is the architecture of the mind itself. In the centuries following the fall of surviving advanced civilizations, remnants of Aztlan, Atlantis, Tartaria, Moorish networks, and indigenous empires, a new system emerged to consolidate power. The Prussian education model, ostensibly designed to teach literacy, mathematics, and citizenship, it was also a mechanism of psychological and social engineering, ensuring obedience and shaping thought. This model did not arise in a vacuum. It drew on centuries of curated history and suppressed knowledge. The elites who designed, funded, and exported these systems were deeply interconnected: financiers, industrialists, dynasties, and secret societies. They understood that controlling education, history, and cultural narratives could produce generations predisposed to accept hierarchy, authority, and narrow worldviews, and to forget the broader global legacy of human civilization. Prussian methodology and psychological control. The Prussian system emphasized order and discipline. Timetables, bells, and regimented classrooms mirrored military structures. Conformity was rewarded, deviation punished. Students memorized curated histories, not questioned them. Critical thinking existed only within boundaries defined by authority. Languages, literature, and philosophy were selected carefully. Non-European contributions were minimized or erased. Indigenous knowledge, African scholarship, and records of Tartarian or Moorish influence were omitted. Even mathematics and science were framed as linear progressions originating in Europe. Education became the conduit through which collective memory could be shaped and contained. Networks behind the curtain. Funding, oversight, and intellectual framing came from elite networks, merchant, bank families, dynasties, and international societies maintained influence over universities, presses, and curricula. Philosophical justification from Voltaire, Hume, and Bacon were selectively amplified to reinforce European supremacy and cultural hierarchy. Secretive circles, some tracing back to esoteric traditions preserved by survivors of lost civilizations, controlled the flow of knowledge, keeping strategic insights for elite advantage while the public remained unaware of ancient interconnections and past sophistication. Erasing interconnection. This era marked a deliberate erasure of global mixing. Genetic diversity, migration, and ancient trade networks became invisible in textbooks. Phenotypes and cultural markers hinting at centuries of interaction were ignored or dismissed as myth. Schools and universities became factories of obedience, producing citizens who internalized the curated story. Indigenous and African knowledge systems, along with remnants of Tartarian and Moorish learning, were co-opted or erased entirely. By controlling both what could be learned and how it could be interpreted, these systems manufactured a compliant population that viewed history and identity through a narrow lens. The psychological consequences. Children grew into adults with limited awareness of human interconnectedness, understanding of Aztlan or Atlantis, global intermixing, Olmec and indigenous achievements, or Tartarian sophistication became regulated to myth or fringe speculation. People were trained to accept cultural hierarchies, racial divisions, and Eurocentric timelines as natural. Critical questioning, when permitted, was contained, ensuring rebellion against the narrative rarely extended to structural analysis. The architecture of mind and society. The Prussian mind factory demonstrates the architecture of control. Selective history and censored knowledge shape worldview. Structural discipline and obedience condition behavior. Elite networks consolidate influence across funding, authority, and access to knowledge itself. This system was a replicable blueprint exported across Europe, the Americas, and colonies, standardizing thought, erasing historical interconnections, and ensuring populations could be controlled without overt coercion. From the ruins of advanced civilizations to the regimented classrooms of Prussia, a thread emerges. Knowledge, if curated, becomes power. The next episode will explore universities, student movements, and the subtle ways elite influence channels dissent, all while continuing to erase the hidden currents of civilization.